Welcome back, affiliates and Genitals, to a Brony Plays Minecraft. I'm back today with another episode of TerraFirma. Unfortunately, though, Crystal is not with us. She's been having some technical problems. So hopefully we'll get that sorted out very quickly and, well, you know, as soon as we can at least. And get everything back to what you were expecting. It is a shame, though, because she was looking forward to testing out the new updated world. Oh, that's right, we updated. TerraFirma recently had a new update to it, so we have new things here. Some of the rocks around here are different now. We now have dolomite instead of the andesite that we had earlier. New chunks. I say new chunks because the old chunks have already been generated, but anything new should have a different world generation system, meaning that different types of stone should be on top of the world, basically, and different types should be on bottom. Of course, since the world does generate sea level at pretty low or pretty high place, we're at 145 at the moment, that means that there's a lot of rock beneath us. But all these old chunks are still fine. Probably the biggest change that we've noticed is a change to stacking systems and stuff. First of all, when you look at something, now there is a just see that's like a little description thing there. If you play Tekkit, you kind of have gotten used to seeing these, but this case it looks a little different. There's like a weight and a size. So a stick here is light and tiny, whereas a stone axe is medium weight size and large in size. And these rocks are medium and tiny, and so on and so forth. Not everything has a tooltip, like the torch and the stake there, but most things do. Yes, that's an iron shovel. Got it from a zombie. What? You jealous? Jelly? Anyways, the new system here determines what things can stack. So, first of all, I've got all these planks. You can stack planks, but you can't stack wood, or you can't stack logs inside chests anymore. So I can put these planks in here, but not logs. I can only put these things up to 32. Notice it says light, medium. The light means I can put a little bit more than I normally would, but medium, can't. Also, you'll notice that the chests are bigger now. Oh, thank God, they doubled the size of chests. So instead of just having 2 rows, we now have 4, which is less than vanilla, but that's fine. At least it's, you know, at least we're not filling our houses to the brim with chests just to put stuff in here. So the inventory stacking system it's a little wonky. There's basically each size category and each weight category have their own data value, which multiply together and determine how stuff works. Like I said, it's kind of odd. There's something else going on weird. If I were to just right-click, let me get my axe out because it's going to take a bit. If I just want to put a log down, if I right-click, it now puts the actual log. And notice it also put it down sideways, so I could build myself a sideways tree if I wanted to. If I want to make a log pile, I've got to shift-click in order to put it down, and then I get a log pile. And, of course, I've got to shift-click when adding things to the log pile, so I can put one down like that, and then I can click in. Of course, being careful, because if you have a whole bunch and you just start shift-clicking in there over and over and over again, it will create more log piles when you're done. So that's just something to watch out for. Oh, dirt. Yes, dirt. That's the other big thing. So we have the new inventory. We have the new chest, the new inventory, and dirt lurks a little differently too. Let's just, you know, I want to put some dirt right here, okay? So watch. Oh! Let's try that again. No. Kind of weird there. Let's try that again. Oh, snap. That's right. Dirt sucks. Oh, things were bad enough just falling before. I still don't know why nothing falls up there. But now, if you try to put dirt up, it will fall if there's a edge right next to it. It will no longer stack in multiple layers unless there's something holding it up. I could put it here, and it obviously won't fall because there's nothing to fall off of or onto. And likewise, I could put it right here, and it'd be fine because it's not right next to an edge. Let's get that rock. But if I try to stack it on top of itself to make like a dirt tower or wall, it's just not going to work. I built a charcoal pile a little while back over here, and it's a pain to build. I haven't There's charcoal in there. But it's a pain to build because the dirt just falls constantly. Strangely, though, this doesn't necessarily result in avalanches. Let's demonstrate this. If I were to pull this off right here and stick it down, it falls, but like it only fell twice. It might fall more than that next time, it might fall less. But it didn't cause everything else to start falling as well. So just be careful when you start building things. Dirt will fall, which does kind of mimic real-world scenarios, as dirt tends to form piles and not large stuck-up towers. Of course, on the other hand, many people play Minecraft not for real-worldism, but whatever. One of the great things that they changed was that clay textures are now more visible, so that if you're having trouble finding clay, like we were earlier, they should be a little easier to find. That doesn't mean that new clay has spawned or anything, and none of this stuff is clay, sadly. But clay textures are more easy to see. And if you were playing, you may have noticed that old clay molds did not always form pots, or sorry, not pots. They didn't always form clay molds. Clay stacks wouldn't always form clay molds. That bug has been fixed. It was caused by clay having a damage value and Minecraft didn't like it. So that part has been fixed. And with all that out of the way, we can get back to the business of properly enjoying ourselves, as opposed to just reporting on the update. Although some of the stuff in the update is kind of nice. I'm just going to toss some of this stuff down here because I'd like to consider using my batteries stuff. And I actually kind of want to improve my sluices. There's still a weird bug with the sluices that if you look away or do something wrong, sometimes they bug out and get stuck there, but go figure. We're also still working on our farm. We need to spend some more time on that, really do. I think I'm gonna dig out some trenches and start planting because that was one of the goals and we should make some progress. We can't, however, start mining yet, even though we've got a pickaxe, and I'll show you as soon as we go to bed here. La 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 la. Ah, much better. Want to avoid those pesky creepers and whatnot, because night times can get pretty darn hectic. So let's take our new pickaxe and let's go exploring. I've got some new stuff to show you that we probably haven't seen before, and some of it's kind of important. So here we go. We've got this wonderful side of a mountain. You know, why bother go looking anywhere else? We'll just dig into this, especially since we have this new fancy iron shovel. Oh yeah. Alright, so first of all, obviously I can use my pick to dig rock. Doing so causes stuff to fall. If it's fallable, fall-onable. Makes sense, right? Rock doesn't always fall, but it can fall. There are cave-ins in this game, which is why we can't just go mining straight away. And let's see if we can get a cave-in to happen. We'll need to excavate a decent area and try not to be under it. Cave-ins require some specific conditions, and they're a little random. You can't always predict when there's going to be a cave-in, which is why we need a new tool called the support beam. The support beam will prevent cave-ins, and it will also prevent things like cobblestone and dirt from falling on us, which, I don't know about you, but I kind of like that idea, that I'm not going to get buried under cobblestone and dirt all the time, and that I could actually have a way of holding them up. Cave-ins, or support beams, I should say, will prevent everything on the z-axis that they're placed on. So if I put a beam like here, here, and here, right along this, it'll support everything on this beam, or this level, and everything right here. Supposedly this can be used to dig upward, but given the nature of mining in this game, it doesn't seem like you'd need to dig upward a whole lot. Now this isn't a very big tunnel, so it could be a little tricky getting a cave-in, but if we expanded it or continued, we'd definitely run into danger of a cave-in. I don't really want to get much farther in than this, because if it falls on us, that could really hurt, and we would lose this wonderful pickaxe. Still, we can expand a little bit over here, but you'll notice right away that I'm not, like, hitting any ores. And I'm not getting anything. I'm not even getting the blocks when I mine them. I'm getting these crappy little rocks, and I don't even get those all the time. I only get them sometimes. What on earth is up with that? Well, that's just the nature of the thing, right? You don't always get something when you mine it. Sometimes when you're breaking rocks, you just don't, you just have to break them up. If you've ever gone rock hounding, which is the official and highly technical term of people who go out and break rocks for valuable mineralogical and geological specimens, then you'll know that such things happen. When you're breaking rocks, you don't necessarily get rocks back. Actually, I think I'm probably being far too afraid of this cave-in. I could probably just go in and mine to my heart's content. Not that it'll do me much good. I've got a nice little cave going here, but I don't think I'm going to get very much out of this. Minerals probably don't occur this close to the surface unless I'm really lucky. And even in my other game, my single-player kind of creative type game, I haven't seen any minerals yet. So far, most of our mining is going to be done with a with the sluice and by finding little buttons and rocks on the ground. How can we fix that? Because really, that's kind of crap. That's not how you find minerals. You actually do find minerals by mining. So how do you fix that? Well, a couple things. First of all, we need to talk about how to get smooth stone. Second of all, we need to talk about different types of tools. And then we can put all that together to figure out how to get nice mineable areas. So, some recipes, most notably the metallurgy table, require smooth stone. That's great. I'm surrounded by it, right? But if I mine it, I'm not going to get any of it. So what do I do about that? Well, this isn't the best place to mine smooth stone, but right up here, this one's pretty good. To mine smooth stone, you have to remove the 6 blocks that are connected to it. So this guy is a good sample because I've already got rid of 1, 2, and the one on the bottom 3. Now this guy's an okay sample as well because he's also got 3. I just tend to like these ones a little better because they're a little more easy to get to and you don't have to mine underneath them, which is okay in the case here, but like all these guys, mining underneath is a little harder. Here, all 3 blocks are also exposed, so this is really exposed, really good to mine. So watch what happens when we mine out these 3, this one, and right way over there. Watch what happens to this guy in front. Boom! He drops off immediately, no mining necessary. We jump down, pick it up, and now we have a rock of dacite. Now I can put it down and I'll get a smooth stone rock like this, which is great for transporting stone anvils. Let's say, I can now carry a stone anvil back to base with me. I don't have to use this one all the time, which would be kind of nice, I suppose. Yeah, I guess, right? In fact, let's grab our hammer while we're doing that. It reverts back to a stone rock, but that's the way of things. So that's what you need to do to get stone, well, like smooth stone. And you need smooth stone for anvils, and you'll need smooth stone for the next thing I'm about to show you, which is the metallurgy table. At least, if we've got the if the recipes haven't changed. So let's got our smooth stone. I'm not sure where we're going to put it. Probably outside, because as we build up on metallurgy stuff, we'll want to put more and more things outside instead of inside. So for now, I'm just going to bring my stone anvil right there. Smack it. And put the hammer in. There we go. The little hammer icon tells you that it's now an anvil, and it's slightly smaller than the rest of the blocks. Next, what can we do with smooth stone? Well, in one of these chests, here we go, I have some dacite, and we can use it to make a metallurgy table, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is... there we go. Yeah, almost there. So this is a metallurgy table, and it's gonna go right here, because why not? If you open it up, it's got a really nice big input, but really you only need a couple. You only need these, if you, well, at least to start with, for things like bronze. For more complicated things such as red steel and, rose gold, you might use more, but really you need these. And these are going to be where you put ceramic molds full of liquid metal, and then you have ceramic mold output there, and you get like bronze. We're not nearly to that state yet, even though we do have some cassiterite and some copper. We don't have enough of either one. We don't have a really good way of smelting it. Right now we're stuck using a fire pit, and what we really want is a bloomery. A bloomery is a fantastic structure. It's a little bit like a tower, and we're going to build one right out here. And it just kind of goes up, and there's a special block in front of the bloomery that says, "Oh, hey everyone, I'm a bloomery." And everyone's like, "Oh, ain't that nifty?" And a bloomery is, well, it's actually an old piece of medieval type architecture used in ancient times long, long ago to melt various things such as iron and copper and stuff. Basically, it's just a really advanced fire pit for melting ores. And we'll talk more about that when we get one. I don't really get one too far ahead because is there squid stuck in the sluice? Oi, get out of there. You don't need to be in there. Scooch. Squid. See, look at that. It didn't even get very far at all. But it has actually gone. We have a chipped garnet, so we actually have stuff. Not that that was any useful. Gems on this mod, not useful. Just not useful. So we bounce over here. What do we need to make a bloomery, and what do we need to make supports? We'll need supports to go mining, and we need a bloomery to, well, get refining stuff. Now I've got one stack of tin of cassiterite, so I could almost make a full thing of tin, but let's wander the world and see if we can find a little bit more. We also have copper, but actually copper's not super useful. We can work it into ingots, but we can't work those ingots into tools yet, which kind of sucks. We're going to need enough copper to make bronze, and of course we can't work bronze on a stone anvil because that would just be convenient. We need to make a copper anvil and all sorts of stuff, but first tools. To really, ooh, cassiterite, here we go. Supposedly, that should indicate that there is tin in the area. So I'm going to put some torches down, and eventually we'll come back and see if we can mine this spot for tin. Let's also see if there's any more around. It's getting dark, but that's okay. So we need two tools. We need a chisel. Copper, alright. And we're going to need a saw. A chisel will make bricks, and we use bricks to make a bloomery. A saw, well, and I say bricks, I mean like the, the really nice textured stone brick blocks. And we need a saw so that we can make the supports from logs. Supports are made from wood, but you need a saw so that you can cut them up. Supports are also much better at making planks than the axe is. They're much more efficient. And that's one of the other changes I didn't mention, is that axes now only give you 3. Axes only give you 3 planks instead of the original 4, whereas the saw now gives you 8. Originally, the saw would have given you 12, but, that's the way updates work. Ugh, not very much over here. Supposedly, you're supposed to be able to get zinc and bismuth at this level of technology, back in the Stone Age type era. But as you can tell, they're pretty hard to find. Still, at least we can be thankful that all tools take 1 ingot, and that's it. The tools that are the exceptions, because there always are, right? The only exceptions to this are tools that take a double ingot, and that's what you get when you weld 2 ingots together. Imagine that. So I can weld a tin, and I get a double tin! Yay! Double ingots are really good because that's what you make really heavy things like maces out of. It's also what you make things like anvils out of. And an anvil requires 7 doubled ingots. And each double ingot is 2, which means I need 14 of something to make an anvil of it. Ugh! Just enough to drive you mad, isn't it? Let's go back home before we get attacked and eaten by terrible, horrible things like this zombie over here. And that creeper over there. Of course, I just lost my melee weapon. That was smart. Gonna make a bit of a run for it. Oh, creepers. One thing you might have noticed about the trees, made it. One thing you may have noticed about trees is that you can run through the leaves. Yeah, we found that earlier. But you do slow down a little bit when you go through them. And you can't jump through them. Trying to jump through leaves is quite silly. Of course, that's the way it is in real life, so you slow down a little bit. And I can't, like, get anywhere jumping. So you can't go across the world just going boingy, boingy, boingy. But then again, you never really could, because in vanilla Minecraft, you can't pass through trees, leaves at all. Stupid leaves. So, that's kind of where we're at. The update, and, I don't know, I'm just wandering around now. I'm still looking for, little buttons on the ground, but I think Crystal and I took out a large chunk of them a while back. We need more tin, is what we need. We need more tin, so we can make a chisel, and the chisel will be needed to make a bloomery. And we'll need to make a saw, so that, well, we need a saw so that we can make wooden supports, so that we can go mining. Otherwise the caves will fall in on us and we will die horrible, painful, squishy pony deaths. And that would be very sad. Sad pony. Aww, sad pony. So that's where we are. We're going to look for more tin, so we can make some of that nice stuff. Of course, we also need copper, so that we can start our progress towards a copper anvil. It will take us a very long time, unless I come up with awesome commentary. I will probably end up doing most of that off screen, because until we get mining, really nice mining stuff, it's, yeah. We picking rocks off the ground. Woohoo. Supposedly, once we actually find ores, they're going to be worth a lot more than these little things. And once we get a bloomery going, the whole reason we want that is so that we have faster smelting, and there's the biggie, so that we have more efficient smelting. Right now, I have enough tin to maybe make one stack, or sorry, one full ingot, which would be great, just enough for a bloomery, or a saw, whichever one. But we don't have enough. If we had a bloomery right now, we might have enough for maybe 2, or at least a little over 1. So that's where we are, and that's what we're up to. Getting sticks and rocks off the ground. Yay! 10 episodes in, we're still picking up rocks. But at least we're starting metals. At least we're starting metals. And we have somewhere to go from there. It's not just... We're moving on up in the world. Other progress to do is also to start on the farming, or to get a little more serious with it at any rate. That is going to be a lot easier. Not that we have a hoe. Or do we? I think we actually do. I think it was a drop from a zombie. Or no, we have a stone hoe. That's what we've got. I knew we had something. Because we have that farmland. And we have to actually figure out how to get things to grow, because the stuff that's been there has been out there for a while, and bone meal doesn't work in this game, at least not instantly. So that's where we are, that's where we're going, and we'll see everyone next time, because it's about 20 minutes here, and I'm going to cut the video, because it's also getting pretty late local time. So until next time, everybody, keep on trotting.